Nick Falco, Monique Jeffries, Carolyn Barek, Megan Wheeler. Detective Wheeler joins the MCS as Detective Barek's replacement. Previously, she worked undercover for several years, investigating drug crimes, money laundering, and white-collar crimes. Megan Wheeler, Julian Nicholson, Law and Order, Criminal Intent is often made fun of by the other guys on the squad for being so young, but her youth comes in handy when it comes time to solve crimes that involve shorthand teenager lingo via text messages. She takes a break from MCS at one point to teach a class in Europe. Chester Lake. Detective Chester Lake's ancestors are of Mohawk Nation descent and have been living in New York City for several generations. He is an MMA fighter who goes by the nickname Naptime because of his signature sleeper hold. Ironically, he suffers from severe insomnia, which he tries to clear by wandering the streets at night. Chester Lake Adam Beach, Law and Order, SVU, grew up in the foster care system, and his brother went to jail on his behalf after the two committed a crime so that he could follow his dreams of being a police officer. Lake is a member of the Vidocq Society in Pennsylvania that works together to try to solve cold cases. He is involved in a shooting with one of the men accused of raping and murdering two victims in a decade-old rape/homicide case. He is later cleared of all charges because it is revealed that Lake killed the suspect in self-defense. However, Lake is later found standing over the body of the second suspect and is arrested for murder. Max Greevey. Kevin Bernard, Zack Nichols, Amanda Rollins, Kelly Giddish, Law and Order, Special Victims Unit, is a hotshot detective from Atlanta. Although she has a tendency to get ahead of herself during cases, she quickly adjusts to life at SVU and begins a brief, sexual relationship with Detective Amaro. Rollins struggles with a gambling addiction, and it is later revealed that she was raped by Deputy Chief Charles Patton at her precinct in Atlanta. Her sister is a drug addict with several mental health issues as well. Rollins gets help for her gambling addiction and manages to stay clean for a while, but unfortunately, she relapses when her past is put on trial in an ongoing rape investigation. More 33 of 61 current TV characters you would want to be BFF with 62 of 194 the most brilliant TV detectives, 38 of 39 the best fictional detectives. Nick Amaro, Dominick Sonny Carisi Jr., Phil Cerreta, Sergeant Phil Cerreta. Paul Sorvino is brought into the 27th Precinct to investigate the murder of Sergeant Greevey. He often uses his charm and good manners to investigate cases. Phil has never fired his gun during his entire career as a detective. Cerreta is shot in the line of duty by an insane drug addict and forced to take a desk job at the 110th Precinct. He has a wife and a 15-year-old daughter named Linda. Cyrus Lupo. Detective Cyrus Lupo Jeremy Sisto works in the NYPD Intelligence Division in Pakistan for 4 years before transferring to the 27th Precinct. Overseas, he often worked alone and without backup. One Christmas morning, Lupo witnesses a father murdering his wife and 2 children. He develops severe PTSD and becomes an alcoholic. His partner is killed in the line of duty after going into a bodega to buy him a coffee to help sober him up. Joe Fontana. Joe Fontana. Rey Curtis. Detective Curtis plays everything by the books. If you commit a crime, you go to jail, end of story. He joins the 27th Precinct from the Organized Crime Control Bureau, where he was forced to quit his job because one of his female co-workers was sexually harassing him. His cut and dry detective philosophy is tested when he witnesses the violent execution of a man that he helped prosecute. In an attempt to cope with these new feelings, he cheats on his wife Deborah with a college girl. Their marriage is nearly destroyed by his indiscretion, and his relationships with his daughters suffer. They manage to save their marriage through counseling, but not long after, Deborah is diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. Curtis believes that he is being punished for his sins. Rey Curtis Benjamin Brack quits the force when Deborah deteriorates to the point when she can no longer even hold a toothbrush on her own. The Curtis family moves to California, only to return 10 years later to bury Deborah on Long Island after her death. Curtis often uses the internet to help him solve crimes, carries a mobile phone, and loves the band Oasis. Alexandra Eames. Before joining the Major Case Squad, Detective Alexandra Eames Catherine was part of NYPD Vice for 5 years. She joined the police force in order to follow in the footsteps of her father, an NYPD officer. Alex Eames is very pragmatic and plays everything at NCS by the books. Her personality often clashes with her partner, Detective Goren, but they eventually grow to form a strong partnership. Occasionally, Eames crosses paths with SVU detectives to solve major cases that involve sex crimes. She and Detective Benson have a good rapport, and in one episode, she even takes down the sniper responsible for shooting Detective Rollins. Mike Logan. Mike Logan Krisnoff is a good detective with a rough past. As a child growing up in a working-class, Irish family, he was physically abused by his Catholic mother and sexually assaulted by a priest. He now behaves like a misanthropic womanizer to cover up the pain of his abuse. Logan works for Manhattan Homicide for several years, until he is fired for engaging in a physical altercation with a homophobic politician. He is then transferred to the Staten Island Domestic Disputes Squad, where he works for several years. After his stint on Staten Island, it is revealed in the made-for-TV movie Exiled, a Law and Order movie, that he is trying to work his way back onto the Manhattan Homicide Unit by solving a murder case. He is instead moved to the Major Case Squad on Law and Order Criminal Intent. Robert Goren. Detective Robert Goren Vincent D'Onofrio, Law and Order Criminal Intent, is probably the most intelligent detective the NYPD has ever seen. He is able to tap into the psyche of even the most complex criminals, and his unusual investigation methods almost always lead him to the right answer. Although his eccentricities sometimes rub his colleagues the wrong way, he always gets the job done. Goren grew up in Brooklyn with a schizophrenic mother and an estranged, homeless older brother. These personal demons occasionally get in the way of investigating. He is suspended when he tries to help save his nephew Donnie, and he becomes distraught when his brother, Frank, is murdered. It is later revealed that Goren's biological father is an imprisoned serial killer on death row named Mark Ford Brady. Ed Green. Olivia Benson. Elliot Stabler. Detective Stabler is a no-nonsense, take-no prisoners, Irish Catholic tough guy that you can't help but love. At his core, Elliot Stabler Christopher Meloni, Law and Order SVU, is a straight-up dad, albeit one with a sick-arm tattoo from the Marines and no-holds-barred interrogation tactics. If you're a pedophile, watch out. The Stabes has your number, and you are likely to be on the receiving end of his violent temper towards perps. He almost always gets the collar, but sometimes his anger and frustration gets the better of him. Tutuola. Detective Odafin Tutuola began his career as an undercover narcotics investigator for Vice. He used to spend more time undercover than out, causing strained relationships with his wife and son. He and his wife divorced, and his son, Ken, barely speaks to him. John Munch. Detective John Munch Richard Belzer is your classic, paranoid, misanthropic detective. He thrives off conspiracy theories, and a new ex-wife of his seems to pop up every other season. Munch is a huge advocate for the mentally ill, as several of his ex-wives and family members have suffered from mental disorders. More John Munch, 732 of 737, the most annoying TV and film characters ever, 13 of 83. The greatest fictional cops and law enforcement officers of all time, ranked 16 of 194, the most brilliant TV detectives. Lennie Briscoe. Detective Briscoe has worked for the NYPD for over 30 years and is a decorated detective and former U.S. Corporal in the United States Army. Like many law and order detectives, Lennie Briscoe Jerry Orbach always puts the job first, even at the expense of his family. He is now a recovering alcoholic and attends AA meetings, but unfortunately, he got clean much too late to have a real relationship with any of his family members. Briscoe's daughter odd, and he spends much of his time blaming himself. Lennie Briscoe passes in 2005 after retiring from the 27th Precinct. More Lennie Briscoe, 89 of 189. The saddest television deaths ever, 253 of 1288. The greatest TV characters of all time, 24 of 161. The greatest TV character losses of all time.
Hey guys, thank you so much for the support and likes and comments down below, and also thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to see you in the next video. Then take care, bye.